Chen. Here we go. Hello, everybody. We are really blessed to be connected. I'm in Canada, and Lucy Chen is in Sydney, Australia. And this is the amazing part of technology. Lucy was born in China and moved over to Australia, and she's going to be talking to us today about healing self with art.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Can they see me? Can everyone see me?
Yeah. But you're
hi, everyone. It's the first time I'm doing this. So excuse me if I, a little bit, not sure what I'm doing.
We're all learning here, and this is the great thing, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's very exciting.
So how is it, Lucy, that your journey began, that you started to help people transform and heal by using art?
Okay, so I came to Australia when I was 16. So before then, actually my mom my mom came to Australia when I was 6. So she kind of left my dad and I in China, and she came to Australia. So I didn't see her for another almost 8 or 9 years. I didn't see her until I was 14, 15. And she, as you know, sometimes in the Chinese culture, the boys they like boys more than girls, and that's certainly the case with my mom's family. But so anyway, my dad and my mom, I kind of think it was a blessing that my mom left when I was little, because when my mom was with us, she would hit me all the time, just with sticks and things, hit me all the time. I kind of but after my mom's left, no one's hitting me anymore. So it was kind of good, in a way. You kind of that's pretty nice. And also then my dad and I developed a very close bond, because it's single raised by my dad, and he's so we were really close. But the thing is that I kind of grew up, I realized that only later on, right? Of course, not right on the spot, that I always wanted to make my dad feel proud. That's why I always excelled at school and that kind of things. And also I had a kind of guilt, because I was thinking that my dad has sacrificed so much for me. So, and I needed to make my dad feel proud. So that's, so of course, you didn't know that you weren't being yourself. For instance, I never started art until I was pregnant with almost giving birth to my second child. That's when I started. But
really?
even then when I was in China, before I came to Australia at the age of 16, even when I was in China, there was the art teacher who was really an artist. Even he asked me to go to learn art with him, do some tutoring with him, because he said, you have some, creative sparks. I wanted to nurture that, get some talent, I want to nurture that, so come learn art with me. But the thing is, art is not seen as serious in the Chinese culture at all. Probably not even, mainstream in the Western world either. So my dad, of course, it's nonsense, just wasting time. So he even refused to see the teacher for an interview to discuss that. So, of course, then we put that aside. I never did anything. So I think, growing up, just the thing of always wanting to get your dad's approval, and having the guilt that probably your, mom left dad because of me or whatever. And then I came to Australia at the age of 16 because the bond with my mom wasn't there, and she always boys better, and had my half brother, that kind of things. It was, she was physically abusive when I was little, but when I came here, it was emotionally so abusive, and she would say all these bad words. And so I just moved out when I was 17. I moved out to live with a boyfriend, so that I could get some government welfare payments, because before you were 18, you couldn't get the payment paid to you. Rather, you had to pay to a parent, unless you are in a relationship, right, after 16. So that's why.
So let me just hold on for a sec. So
yeah,
in order for you to get out of the abusive relationship with your mother, right, you
Yeah.
got a boyfriend so you could escape and get on your
Yeah.
own, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it. So just
So I just had to leave home.
I think the other part I just want to make for those that aren't aware of the Chinese culture is I had numerous students stay with me when I was in the Toronto area. And I had at least 3 of them tell me similar stories about their mom, you know, not saying that they didn't want to have a female, but that they would too be beaten with sticks. And they always had to do better and better and better. And so it was very, very abusive from, you know, certainly my perspective.
Yeah, and that was in China, but in Australia, my mom was very scared of the police. Like she even said that she would tell you she can't beat you now because if your school find you have markings, then they could report you to family violence to the police. So, but she was very verbally abusive. Like she would say like really bad words. You know, I don't even know how to translate that into English, but really bad words about you and about your dad. And she just know what buttons to press to make you feel really depressed, right? Yeah. So I had to move out, but you know, and I was still, you know, keeping good performance at school and all that kind of things. And then because that was the thing that was expected of you, right? So I started school, got into a good uni, and then even before graduation, I got into the graduate program in one of the big four banks in Australia. So everything was really going as expected of me. So my dad was always happy. My dad always would brag about me to his friends, even in China. So the thing changed, and then I also, you know, then got married. But got married, you know, seriously, the one of the biggest mistake I made, I think, was got married not for love but for convenience. I actually I have to admit this. I've told my ex-husband as well. You know, I apologize to him as well. Is that I got married so that I could get the dating and the trying to find someone to live with you, trying to find a partner, that kind of thing, out of my mind, so that I could focus on my career, right? You know, the corporate ladder, whatever success meant for me at that time.
Yes.
Big mistake. Please don't do that. So, you know, if anything, you know, marry for love, you know.
Right.
But anyway, so everything was still as my, my dad expected, and, you know, proud, blah, 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 all that kind of thing. So that is, and then my ex-husband, when I had my first child, after we had the first child, my ex-husband said, let's start a company, like just, you know, start a business. So that, yeah, okay, we did. And then we started a business. So I quit my job and then help him started a business, all that kind of thing. So my dad at that point wasn't very happy already, because you want to keep doing your finance. That's what's the thing. That's the thing in the Chinese view. And it was still okay, but you're still working for your husband. This kind of still accepted. But the big thing changed is when I found art. Like the first time I picked up a paintbrush and put color, like paint on canvas, I just knew that was a thing. Like I was born to do that. I was born to make paintings.
Wow.
I just don't know how to describe it, but even though the first painting I struggled so much with mixing the skin color, I couldn't even mix a proper skin color. Mm-hmm. But I'll show you what I did now, my last painting, so you know what I'm talking about from not even mixing a skin color.
Yes, so, no, it's quite a transformation.
So this is the last painting. I probably this is the last painting that I just completed. So it's called Favorite Place. So I will tell you what it meant for me. But the thing is, but the first time I picked up a paintbrush, I knew I was meant to paint. But of course, that's when the crack between in the relationship, the bond between me and my dad happened then, because it was so, in their view, it's so silly. You can't give, at least, if you don't want to do finance, at least go help your husband's business, like all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So that was the crack started to happen. And I kind of felt, because my dad, I talk about him so much because I still struggle with the breaking in the bond, even to this day. I'm still trying to, be mindful of it and see if I can somehow heal the relationship. And it's not also not let the time to do its work, that kind of things, right? Because I have to work on my awareness and mindfulness, and so does my dad. Like we, it's like now we're like on parallel lines, just can't cross. So
right.
And also my relationship, my marriage, didn't start right, so it wasn't going right. Like he came from a very traditional Chinese family, and from my ex-mother-in-law's perspective is that when the husbands come home, then you can just put their legs on the coffee table, shoes and that kind of things. You would go and take off the shoes, the socks, and then give them a cup of tea. So that's the thing that she expected from a woman, but that's just really not my thing, and it's also another thing. It's kind of a taboo, but I want to be open to talk about it, is the sexual shame that happened in that relationship. I don't blame him at all, because that was his upbringing. A lot of it is subconscious, but then it become very, it suppress like who you are, right? And also for him as well, not just for me. So there was one incident where, we went back to China to start the business. There was one incident where I was doing the baby things and then cooking house kind of thing. So I just ran out of pajamas, like honestly. So I just grabbed his boxer to be my pajama, like to be my pajama. And then ex-mother-in-law saw that and was very angry, because she, in her point of view, it's very bad luck for a woman to wear your pants. So when he came home, they talked about it, how bad luck it was, and then they cut it and burned it. So that is just very it's very shaming, on your identity as a woman, or just on like sexually and everything. So you can imagine it carrying into the sex life. It's not very nice. I'm totally open about that. So and these just some little things that happen, of course, coming from that, like just carrying a lot of shame, and then suppressed who you really are, and trying to get my dad's approval, trying to meet the expectations. But at the same time, when you're trying to meet people's expectations and trying to get people's approvals and try to be seen as right, you can't help but have the rebel inside you, right? You want the rebel, but you also want approval. You also want the love, but you also have it's just not nice. Like that's the conflict that's fighting inside you. Probably not aware at that time. A lot of times, also the Chinese, I think I see that in the Western world as well. It's just emotion is not real, right? Emotion is not real. You just need to do the things to get you to where you want to go. However you feel, it's not real. Just don't care about it. Just do the thing. So I've been doing that for a long time, until a breaking point where I couldn't hold it, like I couldn't sustain that anymore. And I cut myself one day when the ex-husband, I was so, I felt I had no mental space. That's when, after we had the second child, I moved back to Australia, and I was doing all the child, looking after the children and housework and trying to, take care of him as well, because he really just relied on, from the upbringing, rely on the woman to do everything at home. So I had zero mental space. I wasn't even painting at that time because there was no time. I had no mental space. I remember I would be so tired and collapse into the bed with the kids, like I fell asleep. And then the kids will wake up before me, and that's the time I woke up. So from the time, just had no mental space even to think. So, so I asked him a few times, can I have some, my own time to be away, just for maybe, if not the whole day, at least half a day? But several times I asked for that. He said no. And he said, as the Australian or social standards, when the husband's working to bring in the money, it's the wife's responsibility to look after children. And you don't need, your own time. You're home with the kids anyway. You don't need your own time.
Right.
So at that point, we were in an argument. I just came to a breaking point because I've been, not being myself, like because I felt so trapped in that relationship, I felt so trapped. I didn't know what to do. Like, I had the kids. I didn't want the kids to suffer, in the quote unquote, like a broken family kind of thing.
Right. Right.
And the finances all mingled, right? Because even though we co-funded the company, he's like doing all the work and he has control, right? Even though it's 50%, he has all the control. So what about the finance if I go? And I just felt so trapped. And I felt so trapped. Then when we had the argument, something came to me, come to a breaking point. I just grabbed the knife and cut myself, just cut my arm, like my left arm. But when I cut it, you know what? It felt relief. It felt relief because the first thought that came to my mind is, now I deserve my alone time. Now I deserve my own time. At least I deserve to be in the hospital by myself without you guys. You know what I mean? So it was such a relief because I finally proved to you that I deserve my own time. But seriously, guys, you don't need to get into that point to know that you deserve, right? You don't. But at that time, that's how my mind worked.
Right. Well, right there, though, I just want to say that your contribution to so many people is invaluable because you're really allowing us to be present to everything you were going through. And so to see that you cut yourself to get, in a sense, to get your alone time, to deserve it, it just shifted my perception, of how it could be for so many people, that they just needed a break from what was going on and they had to hurt themselves in order to get that break.
Yeah, and probably it's to feel, because I've been just putting away my feelings for so long. When you get, when I got to that point where I cut myself, I must have been very depressed already. But before that, I wouldn't acknowledge that I even felt bad.
Got it.
I wouldn't even acknowledge I even felt bad. I didn't even allow myself to cry.
Okay.
But when you cut yourself, maybe it's just the feeling it's been suppressed for so long, crying out, look at me. I deserve attention. It's like the emotional whatever is coming out. I deserve attention, right? Don't ignore me anymore. I need to be seen and heard, right? So I must have been depressed for so long to get to the point where I cut myself. But once that happened, it was a relief to get some, a long time in the emergency room. Right. But then it was very scary afterwards because sometimes, how sometimes we probably play some of the scenarios in our head. Oh, what if we hurt our, sometimes I play that thing. Probably some of us do. What if we, some self-harming thoughts, probably just go and pass. You never do it, right? You just play that in your head. Some people do, like I did. But I never carried that out in action. It just came out, play with a bit and then pass on. But the scary thing was, I cut myself, I carried out what I imagined in my head. I carried out what other things, terrible things that I have in my mind that I would really do, right? That would be really scary. I had images where what if I stab something in my eyes? I had that kind of images in my head. It's terrible. It's like a horror movie. But the thing is, before I cut myself, I knew I wouldn't do it. It's just something that I play around in my head. But once you carried out that self-harming action once, I was terrified I would really do something that I imagined in my head. Right? It was very terrible. So I would hide in the closet and cry. I think that went on for probably almost half a year, another half a year, until the kids finally got into a preschool. They were on waiting list and finally got into a preschool. That's how I had, a few hours a day then to my time, my own time. That's when I started painting, and I decided that I wanted to paint myself because I never really look at myself properly in the mirror, right? You just wash your face, do your things, and then you're gone. So I decided to paint myself by looking at myself in the mirror, and I showed you the first one I did during that period. So I don't know if you can see properly. So that's the first one. Probably you can't really see properly. So there are two birds in here.
Right.
So
yeah.
It's a nude of me.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to just be really brave and face myself completely.
Wow.
So I did a nude. And I was holding a cup there because I was holding a cup. So there's some conceptual work that I was holding a cup.
Right.
So basically it's a woman, your womb, that's where the life grows. And then the vine grows into two vines because I have two children.
Right. Yes.
If you look at the expression, it doesn't look very happy. Right, but because it's the way I felt.
Right.
It's not a
but
it was like I felt like I had faced myself, So the thing with painting, I feel, is when you paint, like with that, of course, I had a symbolism and things that I wanted to say about my life up to that point. And then some other times I painted some painting like some simple painting just by looking at myself in the mirror. And the thing is, when you paint, you of course express yourself, right? That goes without saying. And then afterwards, after you finish the painting, even sometimes days later, weeks later, you look back at it, you start to realize, you get some perspective on what you're going through at that stage emotionally. And the other very powerful thing is, when you paint yourself, when you look at yourself, even in a painting, you stop judging yourself. Whether I'm ugly or whatever, you look very deep into yourself when you look at yourself in the mirror and say, I love you, I accept you. And you stop judging yourself. And the other healing that comes, really powerful, is when you realize that is a portion that has come from you, that probably represented part of you, but it's not the whole you as you are, right? And that distance is the same as what you're going through right now in your life circumstances. Mm-hmm. What you're feeling, even how your body looks like how old you are, all these kind of things, all this physical existence in this, time and space, it is part of you. Of course, you honor that. It's your journey in this human life, right? You honor that, but it's not the whole you. It's not everything about. It's just part of you. Same as the portrait is come from you and part of you. It's not the whole you. Same. The same is whatever you are going through now. Even if happy is the purpose, you want to have fun in this life. So whatever you're going through now, even if it seems difficult or whatever, it's not the whole you. It doesn't define you. It's not the whole you. The whole you is so much bigger beyond, time and space, right? So I find that's really healing to get that perspective by looking at yourself in a painting. That was the thing that has been really healing to me. And the more you do it, the more that kind of, the more you do it, the more portrait that you do of yourself, mm-hmm. You just kind of realize I felt like this is come from me. It's like you appreciate, I made myself into a piece of kind of art. You can probably call it art, or a nice painting. But it's not the whole me. But the whole me, whatever I'm feeling now, also is not just the whole me. The whole me is so much bigger. So right. I find that super healing. You feel so much more powerful because you're not limited to this body.
So Lucy, if my first thought that comes up it's great that you can paint, but what about me who I'd like to, but how do I do a self-portrait when I've maybe never picked up a paintbrush?
Okay, I do in some of my online courses for people who are creative, mm-hmm. They want to explore that. I do tell them, have some simple guided meditation exercise and, bring the self-love into it and create something out of it. Because when I see even in the creative space, a lot of people, they like to paint portraits. despite skill level, okay, just people who want to express themselves, art journaling or whatever. But they paint portraits. They paint portraits of celebrities or random pictures they found on the internet in magazines, but they have problem painting themselves. They don't paint self-portraits because probably they think that I'm not pretty enough, or they think I'm not like so full of myself. Like I don't want people to think I'm just so full of ego. That's why I don't paint myself. Like, but you're judging yourself, right? You know, so God or whatever, the universe or the source, whatever created you because they love you, because it or she loves you. Well, why won't you love yourself? Why won't you honor yourself, right? And so that's through the creative process if people are open to it. And another thing that I haven't launched yet, but I am talking to people about doing it, is to bring it to another level, is that I want to guide people through a mirror exercise, that people actually have to look at themselves in the mirror.
Right.
But tired.
They got to look in the mirror, right? And say,
it's a guided process, you know. I have them take some deep breath and look at themselves in the mirror. Like guys, if you're watching this, try that at home. Just look at yourself in the mirror, take some deep breath, close your eyes, and then think about who is the person that you love the most in your life.
Me.
Do you have the person that you love the most in your life? You hold that person in your mind and feel the love that you have for that person. And then open your eyes and look at the mirror. And as you see the person in the mirror, start imagine that the person that you see in the mirror right now, slowly their features slowly turning into the person that you love the most. So open your eyes and look at yourself in the mirror and imagine that the eyes that you see in the mirror is their eye. The nose is their nose. See the facial features and everything turning into the people that you love the most. Right? So the person in the mirror is the person that you love the most, whatever you had in your mind when you had your eyes closed. The first person that come out in your mind. Don't overthink it. And then tell that person, I love you, in the mirror. I just say, I love you.
I love you. I love you.
Yeah. Yeah. And why do you love that person? Is it because they are loving? Is it because they're friendly? Is it because they're so full of life? Is it because they're just so cute? Why is it that you love them?
Because I love them.
Exactly. So even if they don't have a cute face, like if they don't have anything of that, you still love them. Yeah. Just because they are.
Yeah.
And now carry the same kind of them just because they are, just because they are, just because they exist. Carry the same kind of feeling and look at that person in the mirror and start seeing the face turning back to yourself and just trace the contour of your face, your eyes, your nose, your lips, your shoulders, your neck, and see yourself for yourself, but carry the same feeling, you know, and now you see you, but with love. And then tell the person in the mirror, I love you.
I love you. I love you.
Yeah, I love you. So I want to guide people through this exercise and then, and then paint a portrait of them inspired by that session. So my hope is that, they experience some healing through. So that's the first mirror exercise that I want to do with them. I hope that can experience some healing for people, because I've asked people, do you love yourself? And all of the people I've asked, pause. Right. They pause. And then after they pause, I say, yeah. And then they will say, well, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Well, not today. Or, well, I guess I do. But when you ask them, why do you have to pause? They say, oh, I don't know, or I don't want you to judge me, or, all these kind of things. But so what I really want is for people to really love themselves, because for me, a long time, I wasn't being myself. I didn't love myself. I wasn't accepting myself, as who I was. I was trying so hard to get others' approval, I think for others to love me rather than me loving me, right?
Right.
So, so I want to guide people through this mirror exercise and then paint a portrait of them. So the point is when they experience some healing at the mirror exercise, and then I want them to, once they see the painting, they have it at home. I want them to have them at home. Every time they see the painting of themselves, they will be reminded to love themselves. You know, no matter whatever they're going through, remember to love and accept yourself. You know, just as you are.
Right.
So I think it's super important. And you know, the funny thing is, after I did, you know, maybe, so I don't even know how many, so many self-portrait paintings is healing. Then last year, so I've been doing it for more than a year now. Then last year, I came into Louise Hay's work. I think it was her new book called Mirror Work, right? Have you heard of that? And I just, wow, you know, it is powerful. So I haven't read that book, but I've seen the title. So, so I don't know if to recommend, but anything with Louise Hay, you can't go wrong recommending them, right? I haven't seen that book, but her book Mirror Work, I think, you know, is what I've done. Mirror work, probably just in a different way. Like I pick up the paintbrush.
Yeah. Well, I first came across her first little book, her little blue book in '89, and she talked about mirror work. And I remember standing in front of the mirror. So that's what, almost 30 years ago, and saying,
wow,
I love myself and accept myself just the way I am. And I'm saying the words, but in my body, I'm like, no, I don't, not at all. You know, like, it's like, so you'd sit, so I get them, I love myself. I'm like, no. And so the disconnect was huge. And just over the years, right? It has all come together. And so then now, like, I can look at myself, I can do this video sort of thing and go, yeah, you know what? I am up all night. I might look tired. I don't wear makeup anymore, you know, and I'm heavier than I ever was when I didn't think when I thought I was too fat, you know, when I was growing up, it was like too, you know, all those things, but I can say I love myself now and know it, because when I'm really that connected, it's like I'm connected to the essence of the universe, which is love. You know, that sense of love and joy. So it's different. Totally. And I also just wanted to share too, I remember the same thing when I quit my corporate job. So I was like 27, I think. And the same idea is your dad, you know, like, my dad, I remember saying to him, you'll still love me, right? If I come back from Africa, because that's where I took off to, and do social work, you know? And he was like, why would you want to do that? Right? And I was like, well, that's not the question. The question is, you'll still love me. And at that particular point, he could never say it. You know, he'd never, ever had said that. And it's funny because he's 86 now, and I just got off the phone with him on Father's Day, and he's like, I love you, you know? And he has loved and accepted me because I love and accept me, right? As I loved and really embraced myself and my purpose and my uniqueness.
Yeah.
He got to celebrate it too.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful.
So how is it, can you do these courses online, or do we all have to, you know, fly to Sydney?
No, so I just started teaching some collaborative art courses, and yeah, they're online on my website, you know, and I'll be teaching more next year, and I'll certainly, you know, bring the theme to the collaborative art course that I do, you know, really to cultivate self-love. But yeah, if you want to have like a one-on-one session, you can also just contact me through my website. We'll see what we can do. Like, yeah, definitely. Like you say, like, you have to love and accept yourself before everyone else does.
Yes. Yeah. And your website is?
Lucy Chen, so ENCHEN, fineart.com.
Actually, either you can message that to me, or you can just put it in the comments under the video after. So it's there, because when this will get posted on my page, and then it's present. This is just, I mean, I think your story has helped so many people, because it's in sharing where we used to be And then now how you're healing, and from the inside out, you give permission for everybody else to look inside to heal their wounds. So you are a tremendous light in this world that's really shining. And as much as, you know, we like to say that the struggle or the crisis is, you know, your gift, you're a demonstration of you're able to go through all that and then share art. What a beautiful way to do it to help people heal.
Yeah, it's like, you know, my friend Marianne says, your mess become your message.
Yes. Yeah. Well, your mess is a great message to love yourself and to heal yourself with art. And I am so glad. It was Vanessa, I believe, Vanessa. So shout out to you, Vanessa. She did her belly dance earlier today on, it was great. And that's how I got directed to you, and that we connected, and this has just been beautiful. So I look forward to doing more with you and keeping this global spirit going, because as we are all focused on transforming and being our own unique note in the world, we're creating a beautiful symphony.
Yeah, yeah. And as everyone just love and accept themselves more, you start giving from a place of fullness rather than depletion, you know? And then, you know, whether it's your kids or whoever around you, they don't feel you're sacrificing for them, and that they don't carry the guilt. I think that's also very important, to give from a place of fullness rather than depletion. But you need to feel yourself first. You need to be full first.
Yes. Put your own oxygen mask on first, get filled with energy, take care of yourself, because then you're capable of taking care of others.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, so, exactly.
I'm so glad that your kids were able to take care of themselves just now and give mom a break. And so you could be here with us. It was really, really, really quite a delight. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your beautiful mess that is a transformational, inspirational message.
Thank you, Jacqueline, for inviting me to the event. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone.